Hello, everybody. It's Mike Yao with Fire in the Head Productions, Red Sun, Savage Kingdoms, etc. You can see the Red Sun banner right behind me on the wall. So I just want to do a little follow-up video. Speaking of Red Sun, as you perhaps already know, the crowdfunding project didn't make. We fell short about a little less than 500 bucks, $485, something like that, short. You know, which is not fun, but not the end of the world, not that super big deal. So I just want to let you all know, and I've already talked to some of you that pledged money that you said you would be willing to do it again, meaning that I might try the Kickstarter or crowdfunding project. Probably will use actual Kickstarter this time instead of Indiegogo. More on that in a second. To remount the Red Sun crowdfunding project perhaps in a couple of months, probably after the holidays clear out. I mean, part of me wants to do it for Christmas, etc., but I feel like people's money, like people are already Christmas presents and all that stuff. So I think I might just wait till after into kind of midwinter, early next year kind of thing. So instead of doing Red Sun, by the way, I might just put that on the back burner for a year or two. I'm looking at possibly doing Savage Kingdoms 4th Edition. So some of you have already probably that know me have already heard that I'm. In fact, we've already been playtesting it. Some of you that know me and some of my in-person players and online players. So I've had 4th Edition kind of under sort of under wraps, I guess, for like the last year and a half. And I was kind of developing it at the same time as developing Red Sun, just as kind of a little side, little vanity project, as it were. But yeah, so Savage Kingdoms 4th Edition looks like it might be a thing next, unless I do the Red Sun thing again. Haven't quite decided, but I just want to bring you guys up to date that the campaign did not make it, unfortunately, if you haven't heard. But again, not the end of the world. It leaves me to be inspired to perhaps doing 4th edition Savage Kingdoms, or maybe even Red Sun again in a couple of months. So we'll see. Just want to kind of throw that out there. So going back to what I kind of alluded to, the reason I didn't use Kickstarter itself, which I have in the past, very successful actually, very successfully. I use Indiegogo, which I've used successfully in the past as well. The reason why is because Kickstarter started getting a lot more strict and kind of slow. It took like when I first did a Kickstarter 12 years ago for the first edition of Savage Kingdoms, which was a big hit by the way, raised over $6,500, right? Well over $6,000, which was quite surprising. Which is why I was able to print all those T-shirts and print all the books and get all the stuff out. Everybody's happy, etc., etc. I might have actually made $1 or two, believe it or not, doing this thing. So that was cool. And back in those days, Kickstarter was fairly new, and it was a lot easier to kind of deal with. It's gotten a lot stricter this time. Not necessarily a bad thing. I kind of see why. Um, but it now takes forever to get things approved and to get your money. Indiegogo is so much faster, and the platform's actually easier to deal with. The drawback being is that it's not as well known as Kickstarter, and that might have been the old kick in the pants, as it were. So first time a crowdfunding project has actually failed that I've done. I'm like 8 for 8, so now I'm like 8 for 9. Still pretty good batting average. Really good batting average, actually. But yeah, so maybe 4th edition Savage Kingdoms is coming down the line sooner rather than later. And just a little note on that, and I've probably talked about this in past videos and amongst friends, fellow gamers, and that sort of thing. Savage Kingdoms 3rd edition really was going to be it for me. I'm like, I'm kind of done with the line. I'm going to move on, hence Red Sun. Even though it's technically the same setting as 2,500 years earlier, it's more of a Bronze Age setting, etc., etc., more of classic sword and sorcery, Conan the Barbarian, etc. Savage Kingdoms is sort of sword and sorcery-ish, technically. I now bill it as a Dark Ages fantasy setting. And most people who play fantasy RPGs or read fantasy novels, unless you're really into the genre, you don't really, when you say fantasy, you just kind of think of whatever, and you might narrow it down by saying medieval fantasy. But there's even subgenres of that, sword and sorcery, high fantasy. If you really kind of know a little bit about your real world history, you might know more what Dark Ages fantasy is, which is kind of what I'm promoting it as. It's kind of typical sword and sorcery, which is more of an age of antiquity, and then high fantasy typically is more high medieval to early Renaissance. And so Savage Kingdoms kind of fits right in between that and kind of what the Dark Ages, what we call the Dark Ages from the real world, which, historians are now figuring out the Dark Ages weren't as dark as people think, or were they ever. Things did happen and move forward. It's just a lot of things weren't recorded because, or they were lost to marauders raiding libraries, the Viking Age and all that stuff. So anyway, right. So just to stop the rambling, that was just a quick update. That Red Sun kind of didn't make the crowdfunding project, but good news, we're probably going forward with something in a couple more months. So more on that coming soon. Also, if I do Savage Kingdoms 4th edition, which I'm heavily leaning towards, and I already have like 93 to 95% of it written. I know it's very specific. And like I said, we've been play testing it with friends. I'm pretty happy with it. I made some pretty good improvements, I believe, over 3rd edition. So I think it is worthy of a new edition instead of just regurgitating the same thing. I mean, it's still pretty much the same setting, but even the default timeline of the setting will be a little, there'll be some differences there. For those of you who might have bought the past products or whatever. But the mechanics definitely will be, I think, great improvements in my opinion. The playtesting has gone quite well at DragonCon, and then the local gaming store where I typically run professional games for kids during the weekends, etc. And online playtest, it's all been quite well and positive, and I think a noticeable improvement over 4th edition. So, once again, I think it will be worthy of its own thing. Right, so if I do SK, just in closing the video, if I do go forward with SK 4th edition, I will be coming out with different videos about different aspects of the game, trying to promote it a little bit better this time. Limited budget here, so I can't really afford a lot of real advertising. I have to rely mostly on word of mouth with the occasional thing like banners and maybe a Facebook ad. I don't really trust those anymore. However, stuff like that. So, but anyway, look for videos coming to follow up what I'm talking about. If I do a 4th edition, look for videos on. I'll show kind of some of the new mechanics. I'll kind of give away some of the secrets and that sort of thing. Pre-publishing. Some of the new improvements with the callings, character creation. It's easier now than 3rd edition for sure. A lot of people did like the complexity of it. So now I think with 4th edition, just to speak on it really quick, the complexity is still there, but I've made it easier to do. More on that later, like I said. A few other things you might look forward to with those videos would be some of the new creature designs, the stuff in the bestiary, things like that, new equipment, some new talents, new spells, the magic system. I'm really happy with this time. I've got it more streamlined. I think a lot of people did like it in the past, but so basically think about all the stuff you might have liked from 3rd and even back to 2nd and 1st edition Savage Kingdoms. Just think about most of that, if not all of it, is still there, but hopefully more streamlined and updated and upgraded and that sort of thing. Otherwise, what's the point in doing a new edition, right? So look forward to those. Thanks for hanging in there. And if you did back the Kickstarter, thank you so much again. Sorry I didn't make, but you did get your money back. Just to clarify, if you haven't seen it back in your bank accounts yet, I assume it's coming soon. That's not my thing. That's Indiegogo. But like I said, they're a little bit faster than Kickstarter, it seems like. So you will have your money returned. You didn't lose any money. I didn't do the thing where you accept whatever money you get because I learned that if you go too low with that, you're suddenly stuck. You have to now do all these promises, all these fulfillments with your own money. So that's not cool. So the minimum that I could have done all the fulfillments, all the rewards, was 1,500, and that was even a bare minimum, and we didn't make that. So, but you'll get your money back, and hopefully you can contribute to the next one in a couple of months. So anyway, thanks so much, guys, and I will talk to you again soon.